What if returning a stranger's lost wallet didn't just earn you gratitude, but rewrote the course of your entire life? What if the man you helped wasn't just rich, but a secret billionaire, testing humanity in silence, searching for one honest soul? This isn't a fairy tale. This happened to a janitor, a nobody in the eyes of the world, until one moment one deceased and shattered everything he knew. Have you ever wondered what would happen if integrity collided with unimaginable wealth? If one selfless act could unlock a future beyond your wildest dreams? Then you're not ready for what comes next. In this story, you'll witness how a quiet janitor's life was flipped upside down by a single honest actor, turning a wallet he could have easily kept. But what began as a simple gesture unraveled into a chain of shocking revelations, hidden tests, and an encounter with a man few knew existed. A shadowy figure of immense power who rarely showed his face. You'll discover unexpected twists, moments of quiet wisdom, and a truth far stranger than fiction. This isn't just about honesty, it's about fate, legacy, and the unbelievable reward that waited on the other side of a selfless choice. Daniel Ross was the kind of man who passed through life unnoticed. Not because he was unkind or unpleasant, because he was quiet, ordinary, invisible to a world that rushed past him. He worked the night shift as a janitor in Lancaster Tower, a 45-story skyscraper of steel and glass that pierced the heart of downtown. During the day, the building buzzed with ambition suits, sales calls, corner offices, rooftop lunches. But at night, the marble floors echoed with emptiness, and the only sound was the hum of fluorescent lights and the wheels of Daniel's mop bucket. He arrived every evening in the same faded navy blue uniform, coffee thermos in hand, worn shoes, silent against the polished floor. He cleaned bathrooms, no one thanked him for. He emptied trash bins filled with half-eaten takeout, forgotten dreams, and scribbled notes that smelled like ambition. He kept to himself, avoided trouble, and finished his work with quiet pride. Daniel lived in a modest studio apartment 3 subway stops away. The wallpaper peeled near the ceiling. The fridge groaned. There was no luxury, no leisure, just survival. He owned few things: a radio that crackled with old jazz, a stack of library books, and a photograph of a little girl smiling through missing teeth. Her name was Emily, his daughter, his world. She lived with her mother now, across the state. He hadn't seen her in nearly a year, though he called when he could. She was growing up fast. Too fast. And sometimes, in the silence of that apartment, Daniel wondered if he'd already missed too much. He once dreamed of more, building things with his hands, traveling, giving Emily a better life. But dreams fade when bills pile up and doors don't open. Still, in some quiet corner of his heart, he held on to the faint hope that life might still surprise him, and it would. Just not in the way he expected. It started the way most nights did, quietly, uneventfully, like countless others before it. The city outside Lancaster Tower buzzed with late-night taxis and flickering neon signs. But inside, silence ruled. Elevators rested, monitors slept, and only the low hum of fluorescent lights echoed in the marble halls. Daniel Ross pushed his mop bucket past the vending machines on the 15th floor, humming a barely audible tune from a jazz station he'd heard on his crackling radio that morning. This floor was his favorite open workspaces. Modern glass partitions, always tidy, easy, predictable. He liked predictable. But on this particular night, the predictable would end. As he turned the corner near the main elevators, something on the floor caught his eye, a faint gleam, like the reflection of a coin under a passing headlight. Curious, Daniel stopped and crouched down. Nestled just under the lip of a wall, trim was a sleek, black wallet. He picked it up. It was heavier than he expected. Solid, smooth, leather, no scuff marks. Clean. He glanced down the corridor. No one in sight. He flipped it open. Cash, thick stacks of $100 bills. Maybe 4,000. A platinum credit card. Unmarked except for a faint engraved symbol he didn't recognize. A New York ID. No photo. Just a name. Alexander Varick. And tucked neatly behind the cash was a faded photograph of a little girl, maybe 6, standing beside a man in front of what looked like a private jet. The girl's eyes were wide, her expression off. Not sad, not scared, but not happy either. Just frozen, like the smile had been practiced. Daniel felt a chill. Something about the image didn't sit right. He turned the photo over. Nothing written. This was not a wallet you dropped on accident. He flipped through again, hoping for a business card, a phone number, anything. Nothing. The only identifiers were the strange card, the faceless ID, and that photo. He could feel his heart start to beat harder. Not because of the cash. He'd seen cash before, but because none of this made sense. His first instinct was simple. Turn it in. But something paused him. He looked down at the mop in his hand, the bucket of gray water beside him. He thought of his refrigerator back home making that dying sound. Every time it kicked on, he thought of Emily's birthday in 3 weeks, and how he'd promised to send her something nice. And the rent notice slipped under his door yesterday. Bright red stamp, screaming final. $4,000 could change everything. No cameras on this floor. No one watching. Or so he thought. He closed the wallet and stood still for a moment. Then something strange happened. Ding-dong. The elevator beside him opened, but no one was inside. Daniel hadn't pressed the button. And as far as he could tell, neither had anyone else. He stared at the empty cab. A cold breath of air drifted out, hesitant, but oddly pulled by instinct. He stepped inside and pressed lobby. The doors slid shut with a quiet whisper, and the elevator hummed to life. But instead of descending smoothly to the ground floor, it jolted to a stop. Floor 7. The panel inside didn't light up. The floor number blinked, then stabilized. Daniel hadn't touched that button. The doors opened with a hiss. Beyond them was a hallway, unlike any he'd ever seen in the building. The tile was obsidian black, polished to a glass-like shine. Dim spotlights overhead cast long, stretched shadows. The air was colder here and naturally still. At the far end was a single frosted glass door. On it, etched in silver letters, A. Verick. Special Holdings. Daniel frowned. 7 years in this building, and he'd never seen this office. Never heard the name. The directory didn't list Special Holdings, and he cleaned every floor, every office, every night. He stepped out, slowly. Instinct warning him to turn back, but something deeper, pushing him forward. Halfway down the hallway, the door opened on its own. It made no sound, no click. Just opened. Inside. The room was cold, unnaturally pristine. A single desk in the center, black glass top. Behind it, a wall filled with monitors, all dark except one. That screen showed live footage of him, standing in the very room he was in, holding the wallet. Another screen blinked on, showing Emily's photo in a cheap frame beside his bed. Another, the hallway outside his apartment door. Daniel's pulse quickened. He turned toward the door. Still open. He looked back at the screens. What is this? He asked aloud. Then came the voice. Mechanical.com. Male. No accent. Smooth. Like silk over ice. You didn't take the money. Daniel froze. Who are you? You considered it. Most do, but you didn't. Why? Daniel swallowed. Because it wasn't mine. The voice paused. People take what's not theirs. All the time. Especially when no one is watching. Daniel's eyes narrowed. So you were watching. A soft click. A drawer slid open in the desk. Inside. A single pen. A blank sheet of paper. Another screen lit up. Write your name. Daniel looked down at the paper, then back up. The lights in the room dimmed slightly. He took a breath. What is this? A test. Silence. Then, only a few get this far. He reached out slowly and picked up the pen. The weight felt heavier than it should. He wrote, Daniel Ross. As the last letter curved onto the page. All screens went black. The lights cut off darkness. And then, a whisper, deep and hollow, filled the room like a wind through stone. Welcome, Daniel. Little did he know. That was the exact moment his old life ended. And something much bigger, something stranger had just begun. Darkness surrounded Daniel. For a moment, there was no sound, no light. Just the deep hum of something mechanical, far beneath him, like the bones of the building were vibrating. Then, with a sudden click, a sliver of light appeared beneath the far wall. A panel slid open, slowly, revealing a narrow hallway bathed in sterile white. Without fully understanding why, Daniel stepped forward. The hallway was quiet, too quiet. Every step he took echoed as though the walls were listening. At the end, another door opened, and inside, a woman sat at a sleek glass desk. Late 40s, sharp black suit, blonde hair pulled into a severe bun, and icy blue eyes that didn't blink nearly enough. Mr. Ross, she said without looking up. Please have a seat. Daniel obeyed, his mind spinning. What is this place? The woman looked at him finally. Her voice was professional but flat, as though she'd delivered the same line hundreds of times. This is a screening room. You passed the first layer. She folded her hands. Let's be honest, Daniel. Most people would have taken the money. We've placed that wallet in 15 locations across 5 cities. In the last 3 months, you were only the second person who returned it without hesitation. Daniel blinked. Wait, you planted that wallet? She nodded. And now you're here. Before he could speak again, another voice cut through this one male, but less robotic than the earlier voice. More casual, playful, even. Don't scare him, Miriam. You're too cold. He'll think we're part of some government experiment. A second figure appeared, stepping out from behind a mirrored wall. He was tall, mid-50s, dressed in a gray suit without a single wrinkle. His eyes green, almost cat-like, seemed to glow under the fluorescent lighting. He smiled, but it didn't quite reach his eyes. I'm Alex, he said. Alexander Varick. The wallet's mine. Or rather, the test was. Daniel stood up slowly, pulse rising. Are you the guy from the photo? Alex ignored the question. You've been living paycheck to paycheck, Daniel. Your daughter's birthday is in 3 weeks. You've never stolen, lied, or taken shortcuts. That makes you rare. Daniel took a breath. How do you know all this about me? Miriam handed him a thick manila file. His name was printed on the front in embossed gold letters. Inside were surveillance photos, old utility bills, school records, even a rental application he never submitted. It was like someone had taken his entire life and printed it out. Daniel stepped back, stunned. This is insane. No, Alex said gently. This is opportunity. He moved to a large window and opened a set of hidden blinds. Behind them, a massive underground space stretched into darkness. Servers, security rooms, libraries, armories, even what looked like a vault door carved into stone. You're in a foundation, Alex continued. Private, powerful, hidden. Our mission is simple. To find good people. Not skilled, not smart, not connected. Just good. Daniel stared out at the massive complex. Why? Alex turned to face him. Because power without morality is dangerous. Because most people trade their conscience for comfort. Because I was once like you, mopping floors. And someone gave me a shot. Now I'm giving you one. Miriam tapped a screen on her desk. A hologram of Daniel's bank account appeared midair. Then it blinked. Updated. The balance read $100,000. Daniel stepped back again. That's not mine, but it is, Alex said. Consider it a doorway. You can walk away now. No consequences. Take the money. Live quietly. But if you stay, the world you know will never look the same. Daniel hesitated. What would I be doing? Miriam finally spoke again. Solving problems others can't. Locating people who have potential. And protecting secrets most aren't ready to understand. Daniel shook his head. I clean floors. Alex smiled again, this time more warmly. So did I. And now I design systems that protect governments and destroy corruption before it grows. Daniel looked back at the folder. A photo slipped out of Emily. In the corner, a handwritten note. Your future doesn't have to look like your past. His hands clenched. And if I say yes, Miriam stood. Then we begin phase 2. Right now. But be warned, Alex added, voice lowering. This place is not what it seems. Not everyone here wants you to succeed. Some believe people like you don't deserve a seat at the table. You'll be tested again. Not with wallets, but with truth. And the truth always cuts deeper. Daniel looked at them both, chest tight. He thought of the mop bucket, the fluorescent lights, the way no one ever said his name at work. He thought of Emily blowing out candles on a cake he couldn't afford. Then he looked at the window, at the unseen world waiting behind it, and something in him whispered, stay. Daniel stared through the one-way glass, watching shadows move silently through the underground corridor below. Figures in suits, some in white coats. One man in a military uniform, carrying a silver briefcase chained to his wrist. The world he had stepped into was beyond comprehension. Private web of money, influence, and mystery that operated beneath the surface of normal life. But none of it compared to what came next. That same evening, Daniel was escorted by Miriam to a quiet room marked simply, orientation. No windows, just soft lights, a single leather chair, and a screen on the wall. Sit, she said. You'll be asked 3 questions. Answer honestly. There are no wrong answers. Only consequences. Before he could ask what that meant, she was gone. The door hissed shut behind her. He sat. The screen flickered on. A blank white background. Then a voice, not Alex, not Miriam. This one was colder, unfamiliar. Daniel Ross. Test initiated. Question 1. If you could erase one moment in your life, what would it be? Daniel felt his chest tighten. His mind flashed to the night Emily's mom packed up and left the screaming. The slammed door. The way Emily clutched her stuffed rabbit and stared back through the car window. He hadn't fought hard enough to stop them. He knew it. And the guilt of that moment had lived inside him ever since. My divorce, he said quietly, losing her silence. Then a tone. Question 2. Would you harm one innocent person to save 10 strangers? Daniel blinked. What kind of question is that? Answer. He swallowed. Thought of Emily again. Then of a stranger. A life. No, he said. I couldn't. Another tone. Question 3. Have you ever been truly free? That one hit harder than the others. He opened his mouth, but nothing came out. He wasn't sure what freedom even meant anymore. Bill's exhaustion. Routine, the quiet resignation of someone forgotten by the system. After a long pause, he answered, no. The screen went black. For a moment, there was only silence. Then, the door opened. But not to Miriam. This time, it was him, Alex Varick. But something had changed. His usual polished demeanor was gone. His jacket was missing. His sleeves were rolled. His expression grim. We need to move, he said urgently. Now, Daniel stood. What happened? Alex's eyes darted to the ceiling. This place isn't as secure as we thought. Someone, inside, has leaked your test data. You were being evaluated for recruitment. But now, they've flagged you as a rogue candidate. Why? Daniel asked, his voice rising. What did I do? You answered honestly, Alex said. That's dangerous to people who lie for a living. Suddenly, a red strobe light flashed in the hallway. An alarm sounded deep, pulsing, and ominous. Follow me, Alex barked. And they took off through a side corridor. Daniel's heart pounded as they moved past sealed labs, locked vaults, down a stairwell lined with security cameras. He heard voices over loudspeakers. Something about a Category 3 breach. They finally stopped at a door labeled, sublevel, 3 deep files. Authorized access only. Alex scanned his palm. The door slid open. Inside was a massive archive room, filled with black file cabinets, blinking server towers, and a long digital table in the center. A single screen glowed with Daniel's name. You weren't just being tested, Daniel, Alex said. You were being watched. Your loyalty was questioned by someone high up, a director named Sloan. He doesn't trust outsiders, especially janitors who get this far. Daniel stepped back. So what now? I go back to my mob. Alex looked at him this time, the arrogance gone. Just a man with worry in his eyes. You can't go back. Why not? Alex tapped a button. A surveillance photo appeared. Daniel, outside his apartment, from 2 days ago. Then another. Emily, at school. The breath left Daniel's lungs. They're watching her. They're warning you, Alex said. Either you become part of this system, or you disappear. Daniel shook his head, voice trembling. I didn't ask for any of this. No, Alex said, but you didn't run when you had the chance. That tells me something. He pressed another button. The wall behind them rotated, revealing a hidden door. You have one chance to fix this, to prove you belong here. But it's dangerous. Daniel looked at him, trying to read between the words. What do you mean? Alex's tone dropped low. They're going to erase your file. That means wiping everything: your job, your identity, your daughter's connection to you. I can stop it. But only if you do something for me first. Daniel clenched his fists. Why me? Because you still believe people like you matter, Alex said. And that's rare. From behind them, a distant explosion shook the room. The lights flickered. A voice screamed over the intercom. Containment breach in Sector B. Unauthorized access. Alex turned toward him with finality. You go back out that door. You disappear. Forever. You help me stop what's coming. You earn your place permanently. But either way, he paused. Your old life ends here. Daniel thought of Emily. Her smile. Her letters. The way she always asked, when are you coming to visit? Then he looked down at the glowing table, where his name now blinked red. Decision pending. He took a breath, then reached out, and pressed accept. The screen turned green. A new word appeared. Operative. Initiated. Asterisk. Daniel stepped back, his heart racing as he watched Alex and Miriam disappear into the shadows of the underground complex. The decision was made, and with it, everything he knew about his life had been rewritten. In an instant. As the days passed, Daniel's role within the shadowy organization deepened. He was no longer just a janitor, he was a recruit now. Trained for a new life filled with purpose, danger, and the unspoken promise of rewards. His new job was to protect powerful secrets and ensure that the delicate balance of the system stayed intact. But the cost of his choice became apparent. His identity was carefully erased from the public eye. His apartment was cleared out, and the world he had known was replaced by a new high-stakes existence. The people he once knew, like Emily, were now unreachable, forever lost to the security of his decision. In this new world, integrity wasn't just a virtue. It was a currency. Daniel's moral compass had led him to a point of no return, one where loyalty to an unseen powerful force dictated his every move. His future now hung in the balance. Would the choices he made continue to define him, or would he lose everything he thought he stood for in the pursuit of something greater? Only time would tell. If you enjoyed this incredible story of transformation, kindness, and unexpected fortunes, make sure to hit that subscribe button. By subscribing, you'll never miss out on more powerful stories that inspire, challenge, and entertain. We bring you captivating tales that touch hearts, spark motivation, and remind us all that anything is possible with the right mindset. So, join our community today, and let's continue this journey of discovery together. Don't forget to like and share if you believe in the power of small acts changing lives. See you in the next story.